Hi, this is Johnny. I'm a global artist ambassador for FENIX360, and I'm blessed to be joined today by the songwriter, Brad Borch. Hey, Brad, how are you,
Good.
man?
I'm doing well, John. How are you doing today? It's good to be
Uh,
talking to you.
oh, man, I'm doing well. Thank you, sir, and very happy to be with you and to share also some of your art and music that you have up on your YouTube channel with our audience.
Without your embrace, yep.
Okay, everybody, let's tune in then to Brad Borch, Without Your Embrace.
Take my hand, I'd rather die with your hand held in mine than live here, life confined within these lines. Hold me tight, I'd rather die with you in this embrace than lie behind this mask that hides my face. Hold me close, take my hand. There's no us, there's no them, there's no left, there's no right, no brown or yellow, no black or white. Love has no nation, has no creed, has no fear, has no greed, has no religion, has no race, but there's no love without your embrace.
Hey, Brad, beautiful, man. I really appreciate listening and learning, and I'm glad to have you with me today. I'm hoping that you would please tell me where you're from, and also I love to hear about your journey in being an artist. Give me some of those highlights.
Sure. Well, currently live in mid-coast Maine, about 10 miles from the ocean. I've lived in Maine about 20 years. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and met my current wife there, and met my wife in Pennsylvania. Musically, it's a long story. I guess everybody's got a long story, some longer than others. But my father's a retired evangelical minister, and I grew up in the evangelical church. And I spent 2 years, believe it or not, in a Greek Orthodox seminary in Brookline, Massachusetts.
Wow.
And I've been playing guitar, dinking, kind of, as my wife calls it, noodling, really, since I was 15. And in 2020, January 2020, I decided to embark on a bucket list project I kind of had, which is just going to say, well, I'm gonna mess around with GarageBand on my Mac and record a few songs. And I did, and I discovered I really liked it, and I decided to keep on going. And then a couple months later, of course, as everyone knows, COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I started kind of asking questions, and trying to be an observer of what was going on. And you'll see that's reflected in my music. You'll see some people might call my music controversial, but one of the things that I try to focus on a lot is the fact that we are one. In fact, that's the last track of my album, Well, that's on. I just uploaded about a month ago, and actually, that's another one that It's a beautiful song, but it's all about the fact that there are people and institutions that are trying to divide us, as human beings. And I think it's really important to keep that in mind. But at any rate, about about a little over 2 years ago, right about 2 years ago, I started writing and recording, and I just kind of haven't stopped since. And I have 49 songs online right now on my website, and I have at least 30 that are in the works. They just keep coming. The muse has been really kind of pushing me, and I'm enjoying it. I may not be the greatest guitarist in the world. I don't have the prettiest voice, but I have a lot of friends who are saying, this is good stuff, and it's positive, and it needs to get out there. There's a lot of protest music that I've been listening to, and a lot of it's very angry and very, protesty.
Militant.
And I want my music to be positive and uplifting. I want everybody to be able to say, look, I don't necessarily agree with you politically, or spiritually or whatever, but I respect the fact that you're trying to bring people together and trying to have fun doing it. Quite frankly, the other thing I want to put into my music is, if it's not fun to dance to, what's the point?
Yeah. Brad, listen, there's so many things, and thank you so much for sharing that. Just so you know, I'm actually from Philadelphia as well, in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. That's the first place where I hailed.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Brookline, Mass. That's where my dad grew up. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
wow,
it's kind of amazing when you have these things kind of in common. And then something else about your music in general, in terms of that progression and journey and expression, and now you're taking your kind of responsibility as an artist to use your platform to express some positive vibrations. You talk about this one connectedness that you'd like to promote, and that's very similar to the one love spirit of reggae artists that I also work with and appreciate and love to trumpet to the world, because I think it's what's lacking. What needs to be understood is really how related to one another we truly are. And so at any rate, there's no hurting your brother is hurting yourself too. Like, you know what I mean? We want to support
that's a line from one of my recent songs. Good news. What you do to me, you do to you. So let's walk a mile in each other's shoes.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah, that's part of the chorus. I mean, there's more than that, but yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, listen, I'm glad that we're, you know what I mean, on that same place. And then even, your dad, an evangelical minister, or, had that kind of embodied that spiritual passion that probably translates into your also music. Let me ask this now, Brad. We're speaking of other artists and like other creators, you know what I mean? Were there any particular artists that you really appreciated or feel like, helped inspire you?
Yeah, I thought about that a fair bit when I was writing my bio, which is online, and really at the time, I can break them into kind of two categories, because I grew up in as a preacher's kid and in the Christian faith, and at the time there were a bunch of artists that were popular within those circles. Probably a lot of people have never heard of many of them. You might have heard of Larry Norman. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He was actually from California.
Larry Norman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Phil Keaggy is a brilliant guitarist. A lot of people felt that he was one of the best guitarists in the world. And then there's a fairly obscure artist named Terry Taylor, who was with a band called Daniel Amos, and then the Swirling Eddies, and then the Lost Dogs. But more recently, I've been taking cues from Eric Clapton, Van Morrison, who are saying, look, we've got to, it's important that people not be stifled. It's important that we be able to communicate and have relationships. And what's been happening in terms of the lockdown with respect to our spirits and our ability to connect is very dangerous, I think. So.
Yeah, it's quite sad, Brad, and just the bottom line. You know what I mean? And so wherever there can be some uplifting, encouraging, inspirational kinds of communication, this is the most important vibe that we can actually deliver out there,
Yeah.
and the best
Yeah.
that we can do under these circumstances that are so challenging. And hopefully it'll be sticky, and some people will get the drip, right? You know,
That's the vision. Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
I love that collection of roots you got behind you. You know what I mean? There's some beautiful guitars, and I'm sure that they're
Yeah.
friends, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I appreciate
And
that.
they sing. Sometimes they sing by themselves. I pick them up, and sometimes they sing through by themselves, and sometimes I apparently have something to do with it, but it's not entirely clear what that is.
Well, they're vessels, man, and they're just ready for you to actually pour out of them. So let me ask you this question then now. What have you working on lately? And I know you dropped a number of different tracks recently. So what are you going to be promoting on your social channels coming up?
Well, I mean, like, as you said, I just dropped six new videos with actually, so it's 14. Two were redoing ones I had done earlier, and six new ones in an album called Big Lies, which again, there's a lot of protest. There's a lot of pushback against what government and institutions and big pharma have been pushing on us. But the last one is the last title in that is called "We Are One," and that's I want to keep focusing on that message. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break just to kind of reorganize. I have at least 20 different songs, and I want to kind of spend some time with them, and see where they lead me. I want to be a voice. Really, this is the thing. I want to be a voice for the people who don't feel like they're being heard, and for all the people who lost their job through the mandates for whatever. I want to be a voice for them, and so I kind of want to walk that line of being clear about when I believe that wrong has been done, but also recognize the fact that nobody's perfect, and I'm certainly not. And the only way we're going to get through this together is by reaching out to each other and saying, brother, I respect where you're coming from. I respect who you are, and together, let's not allow the forces that would love to create division break us apart. So I think I'm probably gonna, like I said, spend a little time doing that. But that's if the muse doesn't hit me, and it's been knocking on the door. So I got one in particular that with the tunes going through my head and the lyrics are kind of bouncing back and forth. So
I love it, Brad. That's cool, man. Listen, your spiritual maturity is something that, the voice of, us older guys, I think you get to a point where you start really kind of looking outside of yourself to try and lift others up, man. We've seen a lot, have now experienced a lot of loss. We experienced a lot of pain, and we witnessed it. And what we want to do is participate in healing. And you're with your words, you are certainly doing that, my friend. And so I thank you for that. So I want everyone to tune in to Brad Borch's social media channels to look for what he's dropping up soon and what currently he just has up on his YouTube channel. We'll look forward to you coming up on FENIX360. And Brad, thanks so much for being with me, man. One love.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. Thank you very much for the opportunity, John. It was it's always a pleasure to try to communicate and connect in these days. That's what that song "Without Your Embrace" is about. So without the connection, what's the point?
I'm hearing you, man. Thanks so much, Brad. You cheers, buddy. You take it good. Take care.
Thank you, brother.
Real. Keep it coming, will you?
Take care.
All right.
Take care. Happy New Year.
First you tell a lie, and then you repeat it. Repeat it long enough, and people will believe it. it. First you tell a lie. First you tell a lie. And then you repeat it. You repeat it long enough. Repeat it long enough. And people will believe it. First you tell a lie. First you tell a lie. And then you repeat it. You repeat it long enough. Repeat it long enough. And people will believe it. First you tell a lie. First you tell a lie. And then you repeat it. You repeat it long enough. Repeat it long enough. And people will believe it. First you tell a lie. First you tell a lie. And you repeat it. You repeat it long enough. Repeat it long enough. And people will believe it.
Big lies, wolves in sheep's disguise. If you told me the truth, then I'd be surprised. Public relations, disinformation, censorship, suppression, weapons of mass deception. Big lies hit me right between the eyes. Every time you advertise, distort, destabilize, pushing buttons, pulling strings, manipulate and mislead. You're driven by your greed, filthy waters, dirty skies. Psychosocial engineers, you play with us like toys, preying on our hopes and fears. Masters of misdirection, you say pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. The only truth I know for certain is you're telling me big lies.
The lie can be maintained only for such time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and military consequences of the lie. It thus becomes vitally important for the state to use all of its powers to repress dissent, for the truth is the mortal enemy of the lie, and thus, by extension, the truth is the greatest enemy of the state.
Big media, big tech, big news, big defense. Big oil, big insurance, big business, big surveillance, big pharma, big medicine, big banking, big government, big fraud, big law, big brother, big claw.
First you tell a lie. First you tell a lie. And then you repeat it. You repeat